I was standing at the top of the hill watching the wind move the leaves in the cottonwoods there. I was waiting to see what the breeze would do. The sun had yet to make the ridge just to the north, but the hill spread out below in golden light. I could hear big trucks grinding up the Goldendale grade in low gear, and then the jake brakes of the ones descending. Just then I saw the ears of a deer move along the bank of the road below me. I stood still as the animal crested the rise onto the road. It spotted me and froze. I spoke a greeting to it, and it ran back down the bank. More moments passed, more breeze through the trees, and it returned. It was there for the little water afforded it upon this hill. There was an unlikely spring around the base of the trees and a seasonal cattle trough, dry now. But puddles remained, and I was in the way of the deer's morning hydration. It was my cue to quit dicking around and start riding down the hill. So as the 1980s rolled around, skateboard parks were getting torn down, backyard half pipes were getting built, kids were taking the direction of the sport into their own hands, and nothing epitomizes that time more for me than the skateboards were made by Santa Cruz. At that time, they had the bevel deck. It was a wide deck, round nose but kind of pointed too. Steve Alba rode this one. Like the other ones, Steve Olson was skating the wider decks, Dwayne Peters. And I've always really liked that shape. And so I decided to make a downhill deck out of that shape. So it's basically a scaled up version of the same board. Whereas the bevel deck probably had like a 14-inch wheelbase. This has a 24-inch wheelbase. And so it'll be stable at speed. And I also was casting about for designs to put on it, something that would kind of tie those two things together for me. And I came upon this feather. Actually, Nicole found it in our backyard as a flicker feather. And I really love the way the orange comes up. It's almost like it would fit inside of a board. And then the orange and the black mixed together. So this deck's going to be the flicker deck.
Hey, good morning. I'm here at Maryhill. I got here last night, took a sundown run. Felt a little bit crazy. It was a little bit dark, but the road is in really good shape. The spring ride was last weekend, and the Maryhill rats really cleaned it up, and no gravel, a little bit of residual straw in the gulches. Looks really nice. I camped down at the bottom of the hill last night. It was really beautiful. The crickets were doing their thing and the frogs were chirping, and it's just really nice sounds all night. The black-eyed Susans are still in bloom, which I always like those guys. They're really cheery. The cattle trough is completely dry right now. Usually this is bubbling over, but there's a little residual green. So I'm trying out a new board that I made. It's got a lot longer wheelbase. Not totally sure what I think about a longer wheelbase. Seems, I don't know, kind of constrictive, so I might be just going back to the shorter wheelbase. But here it is, the flicker. The color was inspired by a flicker feather that Nicole found in our backyard. That was a really pretty little feather. So a little bit of a wind still. I'm kind of waiting for that to die down. I don't like filming with the wind. It's just a little too much of a tailwind for my old ass. So anyways, gonna do a little riding. Drop it. Good boy. So I put this bigger bushing on here, this Venom bushing, and the board ended up being a lot more stable. It was a lot less floppy and didn't feel very constrictive. So I totally retract what I said about the longer wheelbase. There was a bit of a tailwind today, but in spots it was a headwind, and the hill was just super fun. So I think that I'm pretty happy with the choice I made for riding this deck. Anyways, it's going to be 94 degrees today, and the swimming portion of the day, I think, needs to start. Come on. Drop it. Good boy. Well, I'm pulling a fresh deck out. It's always a exciting moment. Get to see a new board come into the world.
guy's hanging up. So it's like end of summer now, and then in October, that's usually kind of about the last time that I can press a deck up here because I have no heat in the shop, and I usually press enough decks during the summer to keep myself busy doing these things in the wintertime. This isn't, I do this for fun. So, yeah, probably get one more deck made. And here's this guy. It's fun. It's got the little glue fangs. So it was a really nice trip down to Maryhill. This was probably one of my favorite trips there yet. Just the weather was perfect, and the tailwind was scary at first, as it always is when I get there, but then it was kind of exciting too. So the Maryhill is kind of one of those places for me where I don't really want to ride bigger hills. That's a big enough hill for me, and it's also like a bellwether for where I am physically in my life. Like each year I ride Maryhill and kind of check in with like, oh, okay, well, your balance hasn't deteriorated enough, and your desire for speed is like still okay, So it was really fun, and it was fun to make a board that was like project specific for that hill, and I was happy the way it turned out. So here we go. Who knows what this guy will be? Some plank. Build it and ride it. There's always a little something that I like about the transition from summer to fall. It puts me in mind of going back to school. The new shoes, the smell of the classroom, arts and crafts supplies, Halloween. And then the march back to longer days. Some flickers are migratory while others are not. The ones that stay the cold season seem to be the ones that put the holes in our siding. But I look out the window and I see the flash of orange beneath their wings in flight. A brilliance afforded in winter's slim economy.
Anyways, thanks for watching.